Hi. Okay, so I'm really excited. So Seint has a new release coming out for Valentine's Day. This is a special promo. It's only going to be available for, I want to say like 5 days. But I would say of all the things that they've ever released, this one is hitting as one of my top favorites. And I'm not going to make you wait. I'm going to show you what it is right now. So if you have used Seint, especially if you're like an OG Seint user, this is going to excite you just as much as it excites me. You guys, it's a palette 6. So we already have a palette 4, we have a palette 8. We have never had a palette 6 before. And in my opinion, I feel like this is the size we should have had all along. Like this to me is the perfect starting size for someone starting with Seint. So if the numbers are kind of confusing you, I just want to explain. So especially if you're not familiar with Seint. So these are the palettes. Inside here, you can place your tins. Let me just grab one really quick. So we have these tins. You can place them, just pop them right inside the palette. And this one holds 6 full-size tins. And the number 4 holds 4 full-size tins. The number 8 holds 8, so on and so forth with all the other ones. But this holds 6. And to me, with the number of things that I like to recommend for people just getting started with just basically the basics, if you're wanting to have all the elements of the 3D foundation, I feel like you need the palette 6. And this, it's still so compact. It's still so small. It's thin. It has everything in the single layer. But having those 6 tins, to me, it's a game changer. So they're going to be releasing it in 2 different palette designs. So this one right here, this one's inspired by the lip and cheek called Dahlia. And I will talk about Dahlia in just a minute because it's actually part of the Seint Valentine's Day promo along with these. But basically they had an artist come in. They did a bunch of different swatches of Dahlia on a canvas. And then they converted it into this design. So super pretty, perfect for Valentine's, especially if you like pink. This one is going to be perfect for you. And then if you want something a little bit more neutral, then this one obviously is a lot more mellow. Super pretty. It looks like an old black and white photo. You can see it's got, I don't know if they're like flowers or leaves. It's more like a shadowy effect. Super pretty. Back's a little bit more plain, but again, super pretty design. And this is perfect for people who just like something a little bit more neutral, a little bit more subtle, and not quite as, vivid as this one. So my personal opinion is if you use Seint, you need to get this. If you don't use Seint and you're wanting to get started and kind of try it out, you need to get this. But these are only going to be available from the 13th until the 18th, so very limited time. So you need to grab these. And as far as I know, I don't know this like 100%, but I believe from what I have gathered, if they have enough demand for these, if they do really well during the promo and they get enough demand for these might become a staple. So I would recommend, like I said, if you're wanting this, I recommend grabbing it because it could become something that's permanent. I personally ended up buying 3 of each because I was like, in case they don't come back, I want the palette 6. Like that's how much I love that they are creating this size. So like I said, make sure you grab it because it's like the ideal size for your basic makeup. Now, as far as what to put inside of it, like honestly, this is why I think it's so perfect because I would say you could start with, because I typically recommend 3 different highlight shades. So I would probably say the 3 highlight shades, your contour, a blush, and a bronzer. Or you could do 2 highlight shades, your contour, blush, bronzer, and an illuminator. If you were wanting to have some eyeshadows, then you could eliminate like the bronzer and put in a couple of eyeshadows. I mean, there's just so many options with this. And I just think, like I said, for getting started or just to give you like a very basic palette with all of your essentials, the 6 is it's just perfect. But that's not all. So along with the 2 new palettes that they're releasing, they're also releasing 2 new lip and cheek shades, and both of them are super pretty. Okay, so this one right here, this is the first one. This one's called Iman. This one's kind of inspired by Black Cherry. So if you know Black Cherry, then you'll kind of be familiar with this. It's like a really pretty plum kind of shade. I feel like it's almost a cross between Ever Red and Black Cherry. This is a semi-gloss. So this one's super pretty. I'm going to demonstrate it for you and show it to you in just a second. And then the other one that they've got, this one's called Pink Flamingo. This is just a really cool tone, I should say. I mean, it's a cool color too, but I mean, when I say cool, I meant cool tone pink. Very like vivid, but not, because it's more of a semi-gloss, I feel like it doesn't come across as too bold either. I mean, obviously you can layer up so that has some really good pigment to it, but with it being a semi-gloss, I feel like you can also wear it a little bit more subtly, which I love. Okay, and then along with all of this, if you spend $60 or more if you're in the US, or $84 or more if you're in Canada, then you will get a free Dahlia lip and cheek. So this is one that's been around from the beginning essentially, but you will get it for free along with your purchase for that promo period, which again, that's the 13th, February 13th through February 18th. So such a good deal, such a good deal. Let me hurry and swatch each of these for you, and then I will also demonstrate them on my lips just so you can get a gauge for them. So I'm gonna do Dahlia first because that's in my hand right now. So this one is, this one is Dahlia. This is like our OG shade. This one is a matte, so it is super pigment. Obviously, you can try to use a lighter hand to get a little bit more of a softer like pop of pink. But if you want just a really vibrant shade, something that just really adds color, this one is absolutely beautiful. I've also found that women with more mature skin absolutely love this shade, just because we tend to lose a lot of like color and vibrancy in our skin as we age, and this just kind of adds that back in. And so I know this one is super popular. So if you feel like you need that, especially if you've got more mature skin, you will love this shade. And like I said, it's free with your purchase of $60 or more for that Valentine's Day promo. Okay, and then this one right here, this is Iman. Let me give you a swatch of that one. So see the difference between the matte versus the semi-gloss? You can see that it comes on a little bit more sheer because it has that glossy sheen to it, but it's still, you can get some really good pigment with it. So that is Iman. Look how beautiful that is. Oh, I think it's so pretty. I love lip and cheeks that have that purple undertone to them. They're so pretty. Okay, and then here is our Pink Flamingo. Let me just get a little bit more on that one too. I always feel like I said, because you can see how bright and bold it is in the tin, but then when you actually like swatch it, it's not nearly as scary. But like I said, you can still get some really good pigment out of it, but look how beautiful that is. I'm super excited about these shades. I feel like I love a good cool toned pink, and then I love shades with purple, so I'm like super excited about this release. So real quick, I'll go ahead and demonstrate each of them on, so that way you can kind of get a gauge of what they're gonna look like. Okay, so let's start with Dahlia. So I'm gonna start, I'll kind of just tap it in at first, just to kind of let you see that you can kind of go lighter and then build that color. Do you see how, like, it looks kind of scary, but I've just tapped it in, so it adds pink. It's beautiful, but it's not too in your face. So if you're kind of scared by this color or intimidated by it, you don't need to be. Like, it's so, so pretty. And it also just adds, like, if you want that little pop of pink on the cheeks, it's so pretty. Do you see how it just kind of added a little bit more pop there? And again, I've got barely on my finger left, and I'm just tapping it in. But it's so pretty. It's just such a great shade. And then of course you can always go more bold with it. So you can definitely have it be a little bit more of a pop of pink, but it's so pretty. I just love this color. It's such a great one. And I haven't actually used it in a while, but as I'm like putting it on, I'm like, oh my gosh, why haven't I worn this for a while? Because it's so pretty. So I'm excited because now this is reintroducing it to me. Okay, so go ahead, wipe this one off, and then we'll try out the other two. Okay, so this one right here, this one is Iman. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I hope I am. But one of the things I've noticed about the semi-gloss finish is that It kind of goes on a little bit more like a matte, but because of the semi-gloss nature to it, it's a little bit more sheer in the coverage. And so it's not gonna go on quite as bold as it looks in the tin. You can kind of see the difference here. And I actually put on a decent amount here, just so you could really see that color. But that's something I've noticed now, because I am someone who, I really love a glossy finish. I'm actually gonna put a little bit of some like, maybe I'll put like the lip oil on top of it. So I'm gonna show you what it can look like with a little bit more of that glossy sheen if you're like me and you prefer something that has more of that glossy finish as opposed to a matte. Okay, so this is just Seint's Birthday Cake lip oil. It's got a little bit of an iridescent sheen to it, but it's, I mean, essentially a clear overall. Okay, are we loving this? I'm loving this. I feel like this just kind of makes that color pop a little bit more. So this is the combo of the Iman and just the Birthday Cake lip oil from Seint. I think that is such a pretty combo. I am loving this. So, okay, this is, I think, a must-have now. And like I said, obviously you can wear this as a matte, but I really like to have a little bit more of that glossy finish to my lips, especially I feel like as you get older, I think it just looks better personally. And you don't have to use a lip oil. Obviously you could use any sort of gloss, but I really like the finish that this has with it. So anyway, so that's what this is. Let me show you now the Pink Flamingo. Okay. So this right here, this is the Pink Flamingo. I'm really liking this color too. Like I said though, I love a really good cool toned pink. I think this one is super pretty. And I don't feel like it looks nearly as cool on the lips as it does in the tin. So if that kind of intimidates you, maybe you don't need to let it, because like I said, this is what it looks like in comparison. But you can see the kind of that difference. Again, it's a semi-gloss, so what it looks like in the tin is always a little bit different than what it looks like when it's actually on. And I feel like this one is a little bit more glossy maybe in nature than the Iman was, but I'm still gonna just add a little bit of this Birthday Cake just so we can see what it looks like as a comparison. So that's it with some of that Birthday Cake oil on it. This is a super pretty color, and I like it because it looks like it adds color. It has a little bit of a boldness to it, but it also kind of feels more subtle. That doesn't even make sense, right? But I just feel like it's not in your face, but it definitely adds that pop of pink, if that makes sense. Okay, well, whether I'm making sense or not, these are the two new releases coming out. You've got Iman, you've got Pink Flamingo. Both of them are beautiful, as I've shown you. Here again are the swatches. This one's Dahlia. That's the one you can get for free if you spend $60 in the US, $84 in Canada. And then we also have the two new palette 6s. These are all coming out on February 13th. They'll be available for purchase, and they're only available through February 18th. So you've got 5 days. I honestly recommend getting all 4 of the new releases. Get yourself that free Dahlia. And then if you haven't been color matched before to Seint, if you are wanting to get started, which I cannot recommend this makeup enough. I've been using it for 9 years now, I believe. And it's hands down the best makeup. Every once in a while, I'll try out new brands, new products, just like I said, just to kind of see what's out there, test things out, see what's new. And sometimes I'll even find things that I think are really good products. I still always go back to Seint because nothing compares to it. It really is the best makeup in the market, in my opinion. So if you have not been color matched to it, I can color match you. All you have to do is submit a photo. I will share the info below, but all you have to do is share a photo with me. I'll give you instructions on how to take it, and then I can recommend the best colors for you getting started. And like I said, even before you get color matched, grab a palette 6 if you need to, because like I said, you're gonna be so happy to have this compact size. And if you're an OG Seint person, then like I said, you're gonna love all of these new releases. Definitely worth it. Treat yourself for Valentine's Day, or send the links to your significant other. Let them know this is what you want, because everything is so great. So I'll leave the color match info. Again, these are available the 13th of February through the 18th. And then if you have any questions, definitely be sure to reach out and ask me. I'm happy to help in whatever ways that I can.